Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Boardvengers crossover episode. Yes, we're all here. We're going to talk. We have a topic to talk about. We have some phenomenal special guests this evening with us, but let's just get right into it, as it's been, since February, right? Since we've worked together. I'm sure we've all been doing different things. So I'm just going to go in order. We're going to introduce ourselves, and then we'll get into what we've been doing. So to my right on my screen is Stephanie. Welcome. What have you been up to? And welcome to a Boardvengers episode.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I'm Stephanie, also minimum player count. I have been getting a lot of games and playing them, actually getting more games than I'm actually playing. So, you know, that's the struggle I'm currently dealing with. But, you know, getting out of this COVID funk, which is great for where I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. And now, just everything's opening up a little bit more. It feels really good to be outside. Weather's better. And on that note, on the story today, which won't be there until, the story won't be there when this gets released. But Ben, you're making a pool today. You're building a pool for the kids.
That's true.
You asked Emily for help. And I'm not sure if she gave it to you or not, but Ben and Em.
It's filling up right now.
Yeah, it's filling now. That pool is way bigger than I thought it was. It's like 5,000 gallons. It's humongous. It was like in this little tiny box. I was like, sure, whatever, like a $300 kid pool. It's like gigantic.
Yeah, so we'll see what the water bill is the next time. But
yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, we're Ben and Em.
I'm Em.
And we've been doing an Instagram for a little while about trying to have date nights at home. And we use board games a lot of times to have date nights, but it's just an excuse to hang out with each other and drink and have snacks. And we started doing a podcast when we were stuck at home during the pandemic, and we are still doing it.
Yeah.
Our partner on the podcast, Ken, moved to Minnesota, and we do it in remote now, and we're still going. Having fun.
Excellent. Shout out to Ken, because Ken is an integral part of the podcast.
Yes. We'll bring him on next time.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And in the middle row here for me is Professor Meg. Hello.
Hello. I'm Professor Meg. So I just play a lot of board games. I mostly post about them on Instagram. I do some YouTube, but yeah.
Awesome.
Am I just introducing myself?
Yeah.
I was so lost in the pool thing that I was like, that is amazing.
Tell us more about step one, Ben. Back to the story. They took a photograph of the instructions, and the step one was put on a bikini.
I don't know. There was
two women in bikinis undoing the pool. Like, why would that be?
That was so
important. Who knows?
They're ready to go.
Not appropriately dressed for setting.
I didn't put the bikini on. I'm sorry.
In my middle spot, we have Jason. Welcome back. You had some issues last time with some power, but you're here now.
I'm here now. I'm happy to be here. I'm Jason with D20 Woodworking. I make wooden board game accessories, and I play a lot of solo board games. And the big thing for me this year is I am embracing JOMO. It's this new thing of the joy of missing out. And I used to back all the Kickstarters, man. I used to get all the games, get review copies all the time. And I've finally said no to all the review copies. And I'm just playing like 6 games at this point, and it's fantastic. So that's life right now.
I'm gonna say too many bones. Actually, Lord of the Rings, the card game, you're just going hard on that right now.
Yeah, going hard on that. Going hard on Arkham right now, and Marvel Champions. I mean, the big three, the Holy Trinity.
Nice. It's just
Yep.
Good stuff.
I felt we liked Lord of the Rings, the card game, and then our decks were always trash and we'd lose.
Yeah, we weren't very good at that one, but it was fun.
Just go online and steal good decks. Yeah.
I have a hard time with card games. I have to get myself into some card games. But we have Dave, Game Foundry. Hello. What have you been up to?
Well, I got my second COVID vaccine shot yesterday, so still waiting for the mutant superpowers to kick in, but still standing here, so that's good. Since last time, my daughter accepted her the college she's going to go to, so she'll be going to Cal Poly San Luis in the fall. So we did some campus visits last. Thank you. Yeah, last month, and I'm a Mustang myself, so it's a source of pride. She picked that.
Aw.
Yeah, and then the Etsy business with the 3D printing's been going great. We were super busy month last month. Had to get a couple more machines, and yeah, played a few games in between, but yeah.
Awesome. That sounds like great news. Congratulations on your
Hold
daughter
on.
as well.
Can I do an Etsy question for a second for Dave?
Yeah.
Dave, this past year, has your Etsy sales just been like insane? Like it just seems like everyone's supporting small business right now.
Yeah, it's definitely accelerated.
Dude, it's nuts.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
If you guys have an idea for a small business, go do it. Like Etsy is just taken off recently.
I was reading something. It was the millennials, and a lot of us here may fall into that little category because of the pandemic. Millennials are deciding to stop what they're doing entirely and opening up new businesses, and it's the YOLO business mentality of whatever happens, and we're gonna figure it out on the way. So, yeah. We have Nelson with Fantasy and Some Flights. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, so I'm Nelson. I'm a co-host of the Fantasy and Some Flight podcast. We basically talk about beer, board games, books, and bourbon. And recently I've kind of fallen in the hole that Jason pushed me into with the living card games. So I've been sucked into not Arkham, Lord of the Rings and Marvel Champions, and fallen pretty hard. So that's what I spend most of my time doing now.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. And are you drinking anything?
Yes, I am. I brought the bottle in here because I knew you were going to ask, but I'm drinking Michter's. It's a straight rye today, and it's very delicious.
Excellent. Kate bought. I'm drinking a pink drink, and it's a gin rosé mix. I don't know what it is, but it's delicious, and it's delicious.
Nice.
I cannot complain about it. So
is it gin and rosé?
I don't know. I don't know, but there's a mint leaf in it. It's fancy. She made it for me. The next thing is a White Claw. So
we were playing a game online with Roberto and Kate one night, and he's like, "I'm just gonna have one beer," and he plopped down the biggest glass I've ever seen in my life. It was like, "I'm just gonna have this pitcher.
Just gonna have one tonight."
You gotta do it. You gotta have that one beer.
Hey, we had a good
just
time.
One.
Yeah. And last but not least, Paula, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm living the dream with all y'all. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, that's good news. Hi, my name's Paula. I make the board game sketch comedy Things Get Dicey, which you can find by just typing that into YouTube. It'll hopefully pop up for you if the algorithm is working for me. I also make videos for Watch It Played, and I am a regular cast member for a whole year now, of the board game comedy podcast, This Game is Broken. And I stream board games. Those are the board game things that I do. So that's what I've been up to. is I'm kind of jealous actually of this talk of like, here are the 3 games I've just been playing over and over again. I'm like, what games have I been playing? They've all been for work. And yeah, they've all been for work, but that's fine. It's fun.
Well, we'll save that for the end. We all get to talk about the game we want to play over and over again.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Maybe
and I'm Roberto. I run Shear Boardom. On the next Boardvengers, yes, I'm Roberto. I run Shear Boardom Table Talk. It's a YouTube. I have a small YouTube channel where I interview some phenomenal people, designers, publishers, content creators. I've had a conversation with every single one of you here, and they've all been great. So thank you for those. But let's dive right in. Before we get into the topic, that Ben has no idea what the topic is, so I'm gonna surprise him. What has everyone been playing? So I'm actually gonna start. Let's do this hot potato style real quick. I'm gonna go right to Paula. What have you been playing? Because you said you've been playing a lot of games.
Well, I've said I've been playing games for work, but it's not necessarily a lot of them. Let's see. I've been playing Chronicles of Crime 1900. I just played a game of, I play games every week for Gen Con for stream, and I always immediately forget whatever I just played, which is not a great thing. I don't know why they leave my brain. Oh, I just played Mind Management. That's what we played, which I should remember because we played it 3 times and I won all 3, which is a really fun social deduction, hidden movement style game that kickstarted about a year ago, and it's currently fulfilling to its backers. I played it on Tabletopia, which is how I play most of my games these days. So those are the most recent 2. And I'm trying to learn Wildlands, which is a kind of miniatures game, but a board game. It's not with sets and rulers and everything, designed by Martin Wallace. And I need to learn that one. Yeah.
Paula, minis or no minis? What do you? What does
I
it
like
for you?
minis.
Like
I
the
do
minis?
like minis, and I play miniatures games. Not like super hardcore, but I really like Warhammer Underworlds a lot, which is a skirmish game. Again, you don't need to pull out a ruler for that one. Then I also really enjoy Frostgrave, which is like a band of wizards. And for that, we will pull out, my partner's really into making terrain. So we will like cover the table with his terrain and pull out the tape measure and and the little like laser pointer to be like, would they have line of sight for that? And we argue about
cool.
whether or not they would. And I do like that a lot. So yes, you'll discover about me probably a little when we get deeper into our topic that I love a good Ameritrash theme heavy game. So.
Oh, I'm getting hints for the topic.
It's mechanics. It's mechanics.
No.
Oh, I wasn't
Do you
supposed
have
to.
your
now
Dutch
it's really
Dutch
nice.
economics. Economics. That's what we're talking about later. Okay. All right. How about Jason? What have you been up to? What are you playing?
Let's see. So I'm looking at it right now. This month, I've played a total of 4 games for 41 times. And it's just
Wow.
Marvel Champions, Lord of the
Oh.
Rings, Arkham Horror, and 1 game of Hoplomachus because I had to decide if I wanted to back the Kickstarter or not. And that is it. That is it.
Wait,
you
where's
decide to back it?
Cloudspire and all this?
Cloudspire, I haven't played this month yet. I went hard Cloudspire last month. I played like 37 games of Cloudspire last month, and it takes like 2 hours a game. It was way too much time playing Cloudspire. It was stupid amounts.
80 hours? I'm so jealous.
Yeah. When you get into my yearly totals for this year, 120 games of Lord of the Rings, the card game. Just saying.
Wow.
Whoa.
No big deal. That is a great.
Well, to be
flex.
fair, like a game takes like 30 minutes or 45 minutes if you're flipping through it. So it's don't be too impressed. So, but yeah, that's it. I mean, this year I've only played 24 games, which is weird for me. Usually it's a lot more at this point. So, like I said, just trying to play less and play the ones I have. So, so Hot Potato, Stephanie, minimum player count. What you doing?
Oh, okay. So what have I been playing? Recently I played Merchant's Cove. And that's something I really want to keep playing since it has that variable player pieces. And I think it's really cool so far. So I'm really enjoying that. And I just got my copy. I was playing my friend's copy. So now that I have mine, I can just really just like take it all in. And then I've been playing some Fleet the Dice game. I've been doing a little solo. I was doing a kind of competition with somebody, seeing who could be better at, the game. And, every week I play games too, and I can't remember most of them. So I'm
glad it's not just me. That makes me feel so much better. I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, I have also played this, but I cannot remember.
I mean, it happens. It's just like you play so many things, and then I get like review copies, and I'm like, yeah, I just played this. Oh yeah, Chai Tea for Two. I just played that.
I just played that too. Yeah,
you know.
I won that one too. I should remember. The games I win at least.
So I'm reviewing that one. So that one's going to be coming out soon. But yeah, that's all I can think of right now. So I guess Hot Potato still. Let's go to Meg.
I literally hours ago played Sonora. Sonora's great, very, very fun. We only had like a little bit of time, so we played it. And we were finally playing more Gloomhaven again. We took like a little bit of a break because I have the same problem you guys have been saying, where I have played a lot of games and I got this thing where I feel like we're playing a game for the first time all the time, and then I meld the mechanics together, and then I'm just like, I don't know how to pick this up again. So we're finally back in Gloomhaven for a little bit. I'm trying to think. Oh, and I played Binding of Isaac, which is very fun. It's a card game. Yeah, those are like the 3 from this week, and that's as far back as I can go.
What are you choosing?
I know. I was just
Yeah,
like,
come
that's
on.
the end.
Focus.
I'll go with Dave
Cool.
because
All
I
right.
love his shirt.
Oh, thanks.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this week I tried out Lost Ruins of Arnak for the first time. It's kind of a fun little adventure.
I like
That one. Love the art in that, and I love worker placement, love deck building. So it was good fun. And then the other one I tried out was It's a Wonderful World. Kind of a tableau builder, kind of futuristic in the style of Seven Wonders a little bit, but pretty colorful cubes. So yeah, it's good fun.
Nice.
All right.
Who are you choosing, Dave?
Nelson.
Hey, so outside of Marvel Champions and Lord of the Rings, thanks, Jason. I've been playing a lot of Stonemaier games recently. So I've been doing Scythe, doing a good bit of Red Rising, Viticulture, for Wingspan. Yeah, for whatever reason, every single time I pull a game off the shelf, it seems to have that Stonemaier logo on it, and it's not intentional. It just seems to happen. So I've been enjoying them. They're all great games. So that's kind of what I've been playing. So I guess I'm going to pick Ben and M.
Yeah, I think we're last.
Feels great.
I looked back. So what we played lately is Last Bastion, which is the remake of Ghost Stories, which we never played Ghost Stories. But we tried to play Last Bastion just 2-player, like just 2 heroes. And I was like, this is impossible.
It didn't work.
You can't win this. And so we played 2-handed, like 4 characters, 2 each. And we won on Novice, thanks to M's amazing rolls. So now we can bump up the difficulty. But I was really worried there for a second because she was like, I don't think I like this game. And I was like, hold on. We haven't won yet. We have to try. Playing Marvel United with the kids, but that's because I'm in the middle of a painting competition, an Instagram painting competition for Marvel United.
Your paint jobs look amazing, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Really good.
You won the first 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. So Ultron is this weekend, and I don't think I'm going to win Ultron. I don't.
All week he's like, I should just give up. He's panicking.
Yeah,
So.
it's no good.
It'd be a baller move. Just paint Ultron's eyes red. Just leave the mini base, but put his eyes red, and that's it.
That's like the one thing I did right was the lights. Like at least he looks like he's glowing, but the rest of him, I tried to do all non-metallic metal. I should have just like done actual true metallic metals and like shaded it and highlighted it. Been done in like 2 hours. Instead, I spent the whole week painstakingly painting all these like made up highlights, and it looks like absolute garbage. I did so bad. Oh well.
Never know.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing.
Okay. As for me, I've been playing Red Rising and Dwellings, and I have to thank like several of you on this panel here, because Stephanie said you need to play this game. And then I went to a friend's house and they had it, and I was like, I need to buy this game. So I ended up buying it, and we played it several times. It plays great at any player count. I played it at 2, 3, 4, and I believe 5. Does it play 6? It plays 6, right? Does it play 6? 1 to 5. So I played it at 5 at all sorts, and the game just shines no matter what player count you're at. It's so good. And then Meg ended up buying it, and now the rest is history. I just want to play that game over and over and over again. It's so good.
Well, that's
But
I had seen it on Steph's channel, and then you messaged me, and I was like, done. I need it.
It's so good.
Yeah. That's been on our table for the last couple of weeks because it's not easy to get, but once it's set up, you can play a couple of rounds pretty quickly. But that being said, I actually want Jason to tell us why he disagrees with us. Yes.
So I was thinking about this because I actually just played it again. So one, for those that don't know, like I play mostly solo. And I don't think the solo is very good at it. I think it's very weak. He only has 1 difficulty level, and it's super easy. If you read Board Game Geek, he actually, like, to Luke's credit, he listened to people and tried to fix it and tried to, come back in and do it, which is good, which is what you should do. So I tried a couple of his suggestions, and it's a little bit better. But it's a lot for me. It seems like a lot of okay mechanics thrown together. And I don't like that. and I'm not saying that makes it bad, because I don't think it's a bad game. Because if anyone said like, why is it a bad game? I couldn't say it's a bad game. Just nothing stands out to me. Like everything feels okay. And I'd rather just play a game that's really good at something. But if you love when like 6 mechanics merge together, then you'll love this game. Like it makes sense in that aspect. It's not for me. That's all. So if anyone needs a copy, I'm selling it.
Well, but like that's the thing, right? With solo gaming is you're leaning really hard into the game. Like the mechanisms need to deliver, where a lot of times you can have a game that like plays well around the table.
Mm-hmm.
And
such a good point.
And it doesn't have to deliver so much on the this to this to this. And I'm thinking super hard. It's like either I'm trying to outplay other people or I'm doing something clever or whatever. And solo is completely different.
Yeah. Well, I'll say I've played a lot of games this year that I've only played solo, and I'm looking forward to playing them with people because, you know, they've been a little bit underwhelming. And I know I have this sense like even for me, like Red Rising, I wasn't that blown away by the solo, but I have a sense that playing it with other people and having them and the way that they're putting the cards down and trying to guess what things that they have in their hand, all that, I'm looking forward to trying that and giving it another shot.
What's fun
more
is
of that feeling of like, oh, they just blocked me, and I know they don't know that I wanted that card, but it feels like they did, and but that you don't get that feeling with like an AI potentially in a solo game. You're just like, oh well, that was luck, you know, or whatever. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Well, I'm working with a designer on the solo aspect of the game, and we were talking it through. And they're like, well, no, we'll just kind of shoehorn the solo mechanic into it. We can use the same body of the game itself, but, you know, we'll just make it one player. I'm like, you can't really do that. Like solo is another beast, and it doesn't balance well with anything else. And to kind of talk with Meg a bit about this with Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven's a weird solo game because you can't play it solo. You have to play it 2-player by yourself, essentially, which isn't a bad thing. It's just that's how they had to get around that, because to design an entire game solo like Gloomhaven with how much content's in it, forget about it. You're not going to do that. So
yeah, and that I don't have any experience with Gloomhaven solo, and I can only imagine like even how weird it is to try to feel like you're making independent decisions per character, and not, because I know often when I play 2 characters, sometimes when we play like Arkham Horror, we'll play 4 people, because like 3 is really the good number. And when I play 2, I feel like I support one. Like, I feel like I lean on one and just make that one better. So I feel like with something like Gloomhaven, you'd want them both so balanced, because one will retire, like, and then it'll be staggered. That's really tough.
And with Gloomhaven specifically, like in the rules, they state like you do 2-player difficulty plus a little bit more, because you know exactly what the other character is going to do because you are the other character, right? So they're like, you have to make it a little even harder on yourself because, you know, normally Meg, you'd be working with whomever and you're not quite sure what you're doing with the other person, but when it's just I can just line up this attack, and we're good to go. So,
but another really good Gloomhaven point too is that for the difficulties, that's also suggested. So if it does seem too tough, you can always bump it down too.
For sure.
That I've had a lot of people say like, I can't keep going because I keep getting stuck at this scenario, and it's like, well, then just bump it down. Like, it's not meant to stop you; it's meant to get you through the story. So,
and it's just like, it's a guideline.
That any game, you should, even if it doesn't say that in the rules, like I am, and this is not our topic, but it's just making me think, I'm a fan of like, if you need to house rule something or adjust something for your own personal enjoyment of a game, then do it. Why not? Why? It's meant for you to play and enjoy. And if making a little tweak helps you do that, then I say do it. I mean, it's not tournament play, you know, like make the change you need to. It's like if you're playing a video game and you're like, I cannot get past this one section of combat, and just go in and change. Yeah, like you just said, change the difficulty. Like do what you need to do for your experience. Unless what's fun for you is to keep pushing through and banging your head against that wall until you break through it. Then that's your fun, and you don't need to make the adjustment. But I think we should always feel free to adjust anything. To make it more fun for us to play.
House rules.
I'm definitely playing Resident Evil 7 right now on the easiest difficulty, just 8. I'm sorry, just to get the story, because those zombies are hard, man. Those lichens, actually, it's lichens. You can't one shot those.
Yeah, I find that in a horror game, now we're tangenting, but in a horror game, if you're stuck and you're getting frustrated with the game, it's not scary anymore.
Right.
Because you're
Yeah.
thinking
True.
about how to play. So in that case,
Yeah.
it's like you're ruining the whole atmosphere of the
Yeah.
game anyhow, because you're just like, well, these stupid things, I'm not even scared of them anymore. I just want to kill them.
So we know now if we ever go to Ben and M's house, it is going to be tournament style.
No
The
house
difficulty is
ruling
going to be at
content.
the highest.
I just
Ben
meant for
is-
video
Crushing.
games.
Punishing.
Like, I refuse to think that somebody else can beat this and I can't. When it comes to board games, no. Let's take it easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it easy on me, please.
On me.
Oh, all right. So let's move on to our topic of the evening.
Ben, do you want to
And-
tell us what it is?
Yeah, Ben.
And do you
Is it-
belong in the group or?
M does. She just feels bad.
Yeah, Emily, can you please finally tell me what it
You
is?
can't. It's up to you.
All right. Somebody say it.
We will get there. And actually, I'm going to start with Paula again because I know she has to leave. So do you want me to say it? Do you want me to say that's the question, or do you got this?
Me?
Yeah.
Well,
What-
unless something
your-
has changed.
Your favorite thematic game.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're talking about theme,
Yeah.
which is great
Let me
for
look
me.
around.
I'm a theme. Like I just recently feel like I got to a point where I was like, oh, I actually am an omni gamer. Like I will play and enjoy just about anything. I can enjoy a dry Euro puzzle, but it's taken a long time of being in the hobby for me to really feel that. I'm a theme person, but I think that's because I'm an actor. And one of the things that drew me into the hobby to begin with is this feeling of getting to live in a story, which is why Betrayal at House on the Hill was my entry game. It's not the game I want to talk about today, though. Actually, I want to talk about a game that I think it is so evocative of its theme and also actually is an IP game that I think uses its IP, in my opinion, really, really well. Though when I was prepping for this today, I read a review of a person who thought the complete opposite of me. So whatever, teach their own. But I want to talk about Firefly, the board game, which I really love. And I think it's from 2013. So it's from a time that I would look at an IP game and I would be like, it's probably not going to be very good because they just want to sell this because it has an IP. But I personally actually think this one captures Firefly really well. So if you're not familiar with the television show Firefly, it's kind of like Space Cowboys a little bit. And they have these Firefly class spaceships and they go around doing essentially pick up and deliver. They're like little freighters and they take jobs, and sometimes your job is legal and sometimes you're smuggling and you're flying from place to place, trying to just make money and survive. And the game what I love about the theme and what I think works so well of the theme with this game is it doesn't necessarily make you feel like you are acting out like an episode of the TV show. I feel like it makes you feel like you just are existing within the world of the TV show. And yeah, it's got like art of like photographs of the characters from the show. Like that does exist in there, which is weird. But especially if you're looking at the expansions, and I actually think you should have all the expansions if you're going to play this one. The art on the cards themselves that you're dealing with is so beautiful and is so evocative of, again, the world and the society and this weird future time period that they've set the story in, that I felt just really immersed in the visual aspect of the show. And then it's pick up and deliver. You're accepting jobs. You're maybe trying to hide from getting caught by the authorities if you're smuggling, or maybe you're randomly going to run into reavers who are scary, dangerous, like bad guys, or maybe you're going to make it to that planet and you're going to drop your stuff off and you're going to make your money and hope that you make a certain amount before everyone else. And I just really feel like the theme comes through so well in the way the game looks, more than how it plays, but also for me and how it plays. So I choose Firefly, the board game.
And Nathan Fillion is the man. Wait, Nathan Fillion is in Firefly, right?
Yes.
Because okay,
He plays
good.
both.
I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of Paula. My gosh.
Oh gosh. Don't
Oh,
worry
no.
about that. I'll embarrass myself in front of you first, probably. The first player token, I think it is like a little dinosaur, which is really cute for the show. And anyway.
Yeah, and I think there is a good blend there with the way the theme and the mechanisms work together. Like, you know, you do get this sense when you get the cards and the jobs that you're on planet and, you know, you're interacting with these characters, and then you go into space and you kind of have, there's this whole cat and mouse thing with you know, the authorities and the Reaver, and kind of, you know, trying to stay away and not get caught. So, you know, it does evoke that. It's not literal, but you do get that sense, right?
Yeah. I think.
I'm trying to remember when I played this, and I played it around the same time that I played Zaya, and I'm getting them so
Oh, no,
mixed up in my head.
Mm, yeah,
And
I
I
could see
can't-
how you would, how that could happen.
They're like crisscrossing, and I can't remember which one's which.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Firefly's the
you,
one with the
so-
snarky cowboys. Yeah.
Ah, there we go. Oh no, there's a cat climbing up my chair.
Oh, we got pets. We got the pets out already.
I
Awesome.
don't know where it went.
So I haven't played Firefly. Is it still in print, or do you have to find it
I
in a?
think
it
it
is.
is.
I think it's
It is.
still in print.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
believe it's Gale Force 9 publishes it, and I'm pretty sure it's still in print. And they actually, during the pandemic, made I believe like a print and play or print your own rules of like a solo version, which I don't actually own the game because a friend has it with all the expansions. And I was like, well, I don't need to buy it because they have it. So I haven't like tried the little solo version they came out with. I don't know if it's any good, but I think you can still buy it. And there are other versions. They've got like Firefly Adventures now too, which I haven't played. So I have no idea how that is, but yeah, I'm just looking at the website right now. It looks dated.
It's very 2013.
You can buy it. It's $50 for the base game.
It's not too bad.
And then
Okay.
the expansions are more. So all in, it's an investment.
I wonder if it's as much as Too Many Bones.
Probably not.
Yeah.
By the way, did anyone check out the Victorum Pledge on Kickstarter? You can buy alloy dice for that game, $60 for like 15 dice. It's
You
fantastic.
did it. You did it. You did it, didn't you?
Of course, this is America. Of course I did. I'm wondering if I should buy a second set. Are you kidding me?
That's awesome. All right, Paula, who do you wanna hot potato it over to?
How
Here it
about, well, since Dave supported my thoughts on Firefly, let's hear what Dave has to say now.
Firefly.
All right. So my choice is behind me. I don't know if anyone wants to take a guess, or if you can even read over the Zoom.
It looks like you
I
like
can't
some
tell.
Star Wars stuff.
Is it Star Wars?
There's a
Imperial
Star Wars
Assault?
shelf.
Star Wars
You have some
Rebellion.
Star Wars, but actually, oops, this shoulder. Actually, this one, The Godfather,
God,
Corleone's
more
Empire.
IP.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's another IP, and it's one. When I think about thematic games, I want to be immersed in the story, but I also want the mechanisms of the game to kind of evoke that theme somehow. And there are so many things in this game that are just so brilliantly done to kind of like, you know, it's a worker placement game at its core. You have you know, area control elements really important in it, and set collection with the way that you complete the jobs and everything. But the worker placement is just done so brilliantly in that you have two different types of workers. You have the thugs that are part of your whole entourage, and then you have the family members. And the thugs, they go to the front of the house and they shake down, or the front of the businesses, they shake down the shop owners, and you get the benefits from going to the spot by, you know, basically, you know, your protection money kind of stuff, right? But the family members, it's much more subtle. They go into the intersections of all the different territories, and you get the back of house benefits when you go. So it's like, you know, this distinction between the type of worker and the type of benefits you get. And then at the end of each round, whoever has the most influence in a certain area between all the different workers they've placed, you get a influence marker. You basically have majority, and then you get benefits. Whenever anyone goes in there to place their workers in the next round, you get the same benefit that they get when they do the shakedown, right? Because you're getting your piece of the action, because that's your turf, right? And then you can have gang wars and carry out these different jobs that you can gun down other members of rival gangs, and then their workers go to the Hudson River. So like by the time the game's over, it's a little bit Blood Rage, you have Valhalla, and it's just well, this one it's like they all go to the Hudson River. They're all like lying down there, and you're like, oh man, it's been a bloodbath. It's like so crazy thematic. I mean, all the little touches. The first player marker is like the horse's head from that scene in The Godfather.
Oh man.
Yeah. And then in between rounds, you get to bribe an ally. So there's a bidding phase where there are a couple of different allies available. Like there's a mayor and a union boss and some other things. They give you benefits, and they also help you extend your turns, because it's really important in a round to go as late as possible, because you kind of get the best control of the board that way. So the more kind of roles that you have or cards you can play, the longer you can kind of draw that out and go later. But yeah, you have literally all your money gets in you have a little briefcase, and the money's in it, and you decide how much you're gonna pay to bribe. And so all these little touches that just so very well blend with the gameplay, but also evoke the whole sense of The Godfather. And the art is just gorgeous in the rule book and the cards and everything. Great game.
What do you eat while you play this game?
Oh,
what is
definitely
the
not
snack?
Cheetos. Never Cheetos, right? Yeah, I don't know.
You get the pasta
cannoli?
meat sauce?
Pizza,
Cannoli?
vodka,
Yeah, the cannolis.
Yeah, it's got to be
Oh.
cannoli, right? Yeah.
I'm like
Sunday
so
gravy.
hungry. This sounds delicious to me right now.
But we'll put on the theme, the theme music in the background. Everything, just get that kind of low level kind of violin music going. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movies, nor have I played the
What?
games.
What?
Wow.
How is that possible?
What are you doing right now?
I
Yeah,
don't
right?
have movies either. You're not
We're
alone.
gonna want to stop this.
End
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
I'll be
tunnel.
back
Go
once
into
I
a tunnel.
finish.
You disappoint me, Roberto.
Man,
I
that's
feel like
the
that's
one.
a movie reference, right? That's what I think that's.
That's I tell people that, and I get the look that every single one of you just gave me. I get that
As you
that
should.
look across the board. You never seen Godfather? Like, nah, I haven't. I need to, but just hasn't
Protect
come
yourself.
across.
Dave said it right away. I watched it as a kid, and there is a
Yeah.
spoiler alert to anyone listening or
Thanks for ruining
watching.
that
Now
To
it's
me.
ruined. No.
Godfather
That's a spoiler to me.
Just
Don't worry
ruined
about
it
seeing
for
the
Dave
movie.
said it. Dave said there was just.
Now
Go
I
on.
know. Now I know the whole story. I
I'm
don't
too
have to
soft
watch
for
it
that.
now.
Ruined
Now I
it for
can't
me.
watch it.
Dave, I think that's a great choice. I've played it a couple of times, and I agree. It's just so thematic. You feel like you're running a mob, and it's just like
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's a
Like
great
how
game.
everyone enjoys running a mob. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like,
Right.
it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Well,
It's a way to run a
Probably-
simulation without actually doing it. It's
Okay, I'll allow that. Yeah.
We're all low key nefarious, really, in that sense. Yes.
It reminds me of Detective. That's the only thing I could probably play that's maybe slightly similar. I'm not sure if it's similar enough. I just, it's the same kind of theme, you're a mob and trying to get the snitch and all that stuff. Maybe kind of the same.
Yeah. A little bit. You
You have to kill a snitch. You got to kill you.
Is there a
I haven't played through all the different scenarios, so there may be.
You got to have him swim with the fishes, sleeping
That's
with
right.
all the fishes. Yes. Yeah, kill may be a little too violent, so sleeping with the fishes is where it's going to go.
All right.
All right.
All right. So I will pick Ben and M.
boy. Emily, do you want to go first? You don't. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Imperial Assault. I have played so much Imperial Assault in my life, like because I have a Monday night game group, and it originally started because I got invited to play Imperial Assault because their 5th person left, because they had 4 heroes versus the Empire, and they needed somebody to fill that spot because he was sick of playing Imperial Assault. So I joined in, and I was like, hey guys, I have a whole painted set that I've been dying to play that Emily doesn't want to play.
I'm sorry.
And we played a couple campaigns, and they're like, we're tired of this. So I sold it on eBay.
Yeah.
And we got in our D&D break, somebody rebought all of Imperial Assault again. And now we're playing through it some more. And I am so tired of Imperial Assault. Anyway, my thematic game is along those same lines. I picked Star Wars Rebellion. And the reason for that is, so I had War of the Ring and I had Star Wars Rebellion. And Emily and we were talking, and we said, we have too many games. We've run out of room.
I said you had to pick
something.
one.
You have to pick one of those.
I was like, only one of these, like, both games are super long. Rarely do they get to the table. So pick one, and maybe that one will then actually get to the table every now and then.
And I picked Star Wars Rebellion for 2 reasons. One, War of the Ring, I think that 50-page rule book with all the exceptions of if you're sieging a city or you're defending or you have secretly moving the ring. I love that game. It's great. But it's not the kind of game you can play every 2 years and not have to reread the whole rule book.
Yeah.
But I could probably pull out Rebellion, skim through the rule book, and we could play it. Now, for us, it takes 2 nights because we play after the kids go to bed. It's a long game, but it's worth those 2 nights for me. Like, you get to like do these missions, and the mission cards are thematic. You're trying to capture people as the Empire and turn them to the dark side, and then you have to go rescue them. And you always have Luke, and you're trying to turn him into Jedi Luke, but you can only do it if you go to Dagobah and meet with Yoda. I mean, it's an IP game, and that helps it. Like, but it plays into it. It leans into the IP. It's so hard. And I think it does that well. And especially with the expansion, when you get all the combat cards that are specific to the units, and you're like, oh, I'm not just going to fight with X-Wings. I'm going to play the X-Wing card, and now I get to do this cool thing. And so it's like it's the one game that we play together where I get to like, I'm like playing toys, right? I'm like, I'm pretending I'm Luke or I'm Vader. I'm going to capture you, and I'm going to turn you to the dark side. I'm going to, man. Like, you know, when we were looking around for thematic games, that was the only one of the games we have that I could think of.
Yeah, I feel like mine's kind of a side note. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do, but I don't know. I picked Chronicles of Crime. Just because you feel like you're actually like solving the mystery or the crime, and it's not just like a chance. It's usually not like a dice roll thing. It's like you have to actually talk to certain people and do it in this order and make sure you know, the screen when you get to like look around and see the crime scene, like we've done before where we miss things and that totally ruins the whole, you know, scenario or mystery, and you have to actually be solving it. So that one I don't know, but I'm not a huge, I don't know. I would say I'm probably not a huge thematic games person.
Goodness. I tell you what, so we played quite a bit of Gloomhaven, and I bet you Emily couldn't tell you a single tidbit of the story. Every time I read those paragraphs, the story at the beginning, it was like she found an excuse to find something else to do. This is the last person you would play D&D with.
It was.
I can't
I'm
imagine.
sorry. It's just like school where all of a sudden the teacher's like,
maybe
like,
I just
I'm
have
sorry,
a monotone
what?
voice
Like,
or something.
no, I just can't pay attention for long periods of time. I'm just very short.
I don't think your choice is a side note. Like, Chronicles of Crime is the game that if people are coming over who don't play games, I was like, hey, you guys want to like solve a crime?
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah, it's good because you can just be in the group. You don't have to be like your turn and everyone's focused on you.
Right. Like, I'll take out my phone. Oh, you want to talk to this person? Okay, let's see what they say. Let's ask them about that guy.
Yeah. So,
right. And you're never like talking about mechanisms. You're never talking about board game stuff. You're like,
That's true. Yeah.
oh, what if she was out with him? Like, we should ask.
Right. You always have
about
to
her,
make your
right?
hypothesis ahead of time, and then you're like, I got this.
No,
and then something comes up, and you're like, I was totally wrong. Like,
I think your choice is excellent.
So
It's like the
think-
one game where you're like disappear into it.
yeah.
Yeah, and with it's something like you said, it's so accessible in the sense of like you barely even need to read the rule book to be able to play it. You just
Yeah.
basically you open the app, you set out your starting card, and then you just start scanning stuff. And as long as you know how to scan on your phone, it takes you right through it. It is. I think it's a great choice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's now our party game. Like, since I know the whole story,
Yeah.
if we have other friends over, I'll just run it for them because I just love watching them, struggle and try to figure out the
solve,
clues. Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, that's still enjoyable for me. And they, if they need hints or whatever, I can give it to them. But it is a really good thematic game, especially for people not into gaming,
Mm-hmm.
I can never solve the crime. They always get away every time. I'm like, "Dang it, I had a hunch." Just kidding. I had no idea. They just walk all over me. I'm like, all right, that's fine. You can go.
Well, has anybody played? We haven't played 1900 yet because it just came
No.
out. But the 1400 ones, we were always like, "Oh, we got this solved." And you'd go to solve it, and they're like, "Yeah, you solved it, but you didn't save the boy, and you
Oh,
didn't let the guy to jail."
Yeah, they're like, you didn't do
Like, I
this, this,
missed
and
this.
this, and I'm like, I didn't know we were supposed.
I had no idea I was supposed to do any of that.
Well,
Like, what the heck?
It's like playing Sherlock Holmes Consulting
Yeah.
Detective, where you
Yeah.
get to the end and Sherlock's like, yeah, but like, who was the guy having an affair with? And you're like, who?
Yeah, exactly.
But I also
I
would have
didn't know
lost
that.
10
Yeah.
points if I had gone and talked to that person because you
Right.
solved the case in 6 steps. No.
Exactly.
Oh man, my experience with Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, I brought it with me in my suitcase to the Netherlands, and I was staying in a tiny little like quaint European hotel room, and in between work, I would
You
play that
attempted
game.
to do that?
Yeah, that's my memory. It was like this. It had this weird step up in the hotel room. I just remember that it was just the weirdest little place of me trying to play this game by myself, and I did horrible. I did so bad.
So have any of you done then Escape Tales, that series by Board and Dice? It's like the same exact idea, but it's more, there's a lot of math in it, but there's a lot of like different puzzles. And we like to bring that out now for groups too that have done the Chronicles, because it's just like, all right, we have to study this card and we have to figure out like what kind of clue and what kind of quadrant, like should we look here, and you only have so many actions to do things. So it's kind of the same exact vein, but it's a cheap game and it's fun as a party group.
Cool.
But Ben, going back to Rebellion for just a second. So I played it with my son, and he was the Empire, and he was like just, had all. And the thing I love about that game is like there is that sense of desperation for the Rebellion. Like you can't develop your troops. You're always just feeling like you're overpowered. And like he had this massive force, and I destroyed his Death Star with a single X-wing. And he was so upset. He like wouldn't play. I'm like, but like that's how it's supposed to go down. Don't you understand? Like, talk about thematic, right?
Right. That's how it's supposed to happen. That's why that card's in there. All right. Who's next? Let's pick Nelson.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, unfortunately, I really wish I could stick around and hear everyone's choices. I do have to leave now. I'm so sorry, Nelson. I wish I could hear your choices and interject with my own thoughts and interrupt everyone. But thank you so much for having me and letting me talk about Firefly and everything else. And Nelson, I'm sure your choice is wonderful.
Well, thank you.
That's why she's leaving.
It's all dependent on who we chose.
Good choices.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. I won't linger. I'll let y'all get on with it. But thank you so much for having me. It was nice to meet
Thank you,
everyone
Paula.
already. And
Bye.
hey, enjoy the rest of the discussion. Bye, everyone.
All right, so Firefly, worst game ever, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh. Okay, so I'm very similar to M. I don't necessarily enjoy thematic games. I'm more about the mechanics. That's kind of what excites me. However, I did find a game in my collection that I thought was very thematic, and that's Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island. And so in this game, you're stranded on an island. There's like 6 different scenarios in the base game where you kind of have to like survive and build shelter. And it's so thematic to me because I always feel so hopeless when I'm playing it. And I feel like that would be exactly like am stranded on an island. There's no end in sight. I always lose like horribly. And it's like, well, that sounds about right. But but yeah, so Robinson Crusoe, it's like a worker placement mechanism cooperative game, and just I really enjoy playing it. I love all the scenarios, and it's a game that I don't play a lot. I played a lot 5 years ago, and now it hardly ever gets to the table, and I'm not quite sure why, but
because you're less masochistic nowadays.
Yeah,
maybe?
that's probably it. Yeah.
You like winning
that has to
sometimes?
be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more like I think it's more the decision of like, okay, like let's play a heavy cooperative game, and that decision just is always Spirit Island now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
When you play Robinson Crusoe, do you read the effect of the cards, or do you just read the part and shuffle it in?
I read the effects.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what? It reminds me a little bit about Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. We always force the person next to you to read the card to you, and you have to make the choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that made it so much better. I never thought about implementing that into Robinson Crusoe, but yeah, that just makes it feel so much. I'm actually using Eldritch Core to prop up my computer right now, so.
Nice. I've played that twice, and I lost both times, and it was
Sounds about right.
It was so frustrating that we just haven't played it since really.
Well, and that game is the reason Roberto and I started talking, because I had a picture of that game on my Instagram, and he said, "What is this?" And I said, "Should I warn him and tell him that this is the worst game?" And instead I said, "It's Robinson Crusoe. You'll have tons of fun."
So you lied to him.
But here we are. Beautiful friendship.
Here we are.
It's
It worked
amazing.
out.
It worked out.
Has anyone tried the Mystery Tales expansion? It has like a campaign mode to it. Okay, I bought it.
Where you die you probably die in the first 5 minutes, probably.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to save Jenny. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Jenny.
I'm still trying to
She's
build
the
a
worst.
big bonfire.
Oh my god! Who knew getting sticks in one spot was so hard? It's so hard to get you a bunch of sticks.
Oh yeah,
worst game.
Well, they crowdfunded like a whole like phone book sized book of new scenarios and miniatures, and it's like some huge box.
Yeah.
Looked good. Look cool.
I saw something on Facebook about that or something.
Like, well, they ran it through Game Found instead of Kickstarter, which was like the weird thing. Yeah.
It's not bad when you have that much, that you have a cult following, because I'm sure that game has a cult following of masochists. They're like, come try this legendary extra deluxe edition. It's going to come with more ways to die. And people are like, yeah, take my money.
Also on like BGG, there's like 4 or 5 pages of just promos. Just like they've added so many promos into that game, and I think there's actually an expansion where you can just buy the box of promos now.
That Game Found expansion raised $2.2 million. That's how much people love it. Wow. That's insane. That's 2.2 euros, but still,
that's even more.
Yeah.
Have you found an appropriate player count where you can win it? Is it 4, 3?
You're funny.
No, I think 2 is pretty good. If you play 2 and either the dog or Friday, I don't remember which is the assistant that you get there. That really kind of helps, because there is so much going on in the game and so much mitigation that you have to be running through. It's really easy to communicate with one person rather than 3 other people at the table, I think. Just because so many things are going wrong all at the same time. But I really enjoyed it too. I played it solo and once and never gonna do that again, because that was just horrible.
The dog is useless. He does not.
The dog is useless.
The dog is useless.
Go explore.
Right. Just go and whatever.
Go fetch some wood.
Yeah, you can't do that.
He doesn't can't use.
Yeah, he can bring wood.
One job.
Exactly. Yeah,
brings back a piece of glass. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, right. This is a hatchet. Come on, bro.
But yeah, so that's my pick. I'm gonna pass it to Meg.
Okay. I am finally talking about my child this episode. It took me 3 to get here, but like, how could I not? How could I not? It's obviously, it's the game that I think about all the time, and it's because we're building a world in it, and I'm sure everyone knows Gloomhaven, so I'm not going to like explain Gloomhaven, but even in the beginning, you get these characters, and not with your base characters, but every time you add more characters, you add in cards to the game that you can encounter. And as you retire, you also add cards that you can encounter. And as you build your character, you're changing your modifier deck that it becomes more like them and stronger, and you make these choices that you really build what your character should be, and even down to like what they wear, because like I rarely wear armor, and that creates what my character acts like. And I just love Gloomhaven. I think there's so much theme everywhere in it. I love it. I love it so much. The choices you make affect what can happen later. You close yourself out of things. You earn things. I will get emotional talking about it. I love Gloomhaven so much. Like, I think about them, and I think about the things that happen, and what kind of, even as you start thinking about, like, what kind of person do I want to be, and do I want to be, you know, a good guy or a bad guy, and how do they feel? And it brings me into this world that, and it's, you know, of all the games that I had to think about, it's the only one I think that isn't a IP or something like that still draws me in to the point where I feel like I know like Jaxera and people like that you can name off the top of your head, and it's just like, I'm so in it. We read those town records and I'm like, what's happening?
I was like, I know that name. I do remember that one. Even though Ben said, I mean, like, I don't listen to much because I can't focus. I do enjoy that game, and it is a really good one.
And to be fair, we listened to it with the foreteller, so like the stories are great, but I think that really adds to it that we get to listen. That, you know, even there are things that are added with the audio narration that like you hear like dripping in sewers, or you hear like people running and doors slam, that there are things that aren't in the text. But I love it. I love it so much.
Is that an unofficial app, or is that an official app?
Official.
Okay.
Yeah, they work together.
Okay.
That sewers mission with the oozes and the snakes.
And you're like, why are there
Oozes
more
suck.
snakes every time you open up the door?
mission.
Like that, I feel like that one took us days and days of why are there more snakes every time?
Meg, didn't you have a really high level brute character? Yeah,
Until
I also had a
mine.
very high level brute character, and I was very sad to see
Who
him
would
go.
like ditch me for treasure? So
He was very.
that's probably why we lost every time.
Well,
So.
yeah,
saying.
then I switched to the music note character. I like him though. He kind of.
I know. I do
my
have
favorite.
a thing where like my first
Yeah.
character, I'm kind of like, man, I really like that character. Like you
It's
get
hard.
attached to him.
Ooh, it's so hard because I'm through 3 characters now, and the next 2 that we went to, and I can say this because it's not a spoiler, but I went to the Cragheart, so another, you know, one of the base people, and it wasn't even as easy. Like, we didn't like it. It wasn't, because we role played so much and we knew our characters so well that I knew it was going to be so bad. And it's almost like once you hit that point, it's like you're learning another piece of the game. It's almost like Gloomhaven opens to you, and it's like, no, it's not what you thought this was. It's all of a sudden it's bigger than you thought, and it's more than what you were. And I don't know, I mean, I just love it so much. But yeah, I didn't like the Cragheart, and now I'm the Lightning Bolt character, which is another Enox, and I think that's why I really lean into it, that I love it again. But we had a really hard time in between, like, even role playing and finding new voices and how we would interact. And then, like, kind of a spoiler, I guess, spoiler alert for anyone who's listening for like 5 seconds. And even for everyone, I won't say it, I won't be too bad. But my husband's a character that the character is a species that doesn't speak. So he can't talk. And it's like, how do you role play that? Because he can't even really interact with me. That it got really, really weird. And now we're finding our footing again. But
That's a good game though. It's a good one.
Yeah.
You have
It's great.
Gloomhaven swag. You are Gloomhaven.
It got to the point so bad where I will be like setting up scenarios in my sleep. Like, you know, when you're trying to sleep and go to bed and you're like you're kind of awake.
Yeah.
It's just up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like I'll roll over and be like, I have to short rest her again. Hold on. I have to short rest. Like I
Just
think
visualizing the hex tiles on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I totally do that though. If we play like a game that's like a big thinker, you know, whatever, and then I'll go to bed and it's like I was just trying to get through the game the whole night, and you wake up and you're like, I didn't sleep at all. I was just still trying to like do all the pieces, and I'll
wake up at like 3 a.m. and be like, Meg, you're in bed. You're in bed. You're not at the table right now. You're not. You can put it away.
Like, yeah.
The
You play Jaws of the Lion?
Yeah, so that's kind of where the dreams came from. Because Jaws of the Lion, we played Gloomhaven, and we obviously didn't get through all of it. We're maybe even only halfway through now. But Jaws of the Lion we got, and then we marathoned it through Christmas. That we played from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. and did like a ton, and then we had like 2 scenarios after that and finished.
Oh, wow.
And before that we played a whole bunch, but like we played like 12 hours solid. And I was dreaming about it the whole time. But Jaws of the Lion, and this is like another kind of spoiler, but it's really not. The Sleeping Lion is the bar where all the people go to. Not a spoiler. But the Sleeping Lion is the bar, and at the end of Jaws of the Lion, if you win, in Foreteller, all of a sudden everyone starts cheering for you in the whole bar, and people are going like Jaws of the Lion, and you can hear them cheering and chanting, and I started crying so much. I was like, we did it, we saved them, and they're cheering for us.
She's
Yeah, I loved, for anyone who hasn't played either, I highly recommend Jaws of the Lion.
Sides of a coin here.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll go get the snack while you read. And then just like crying at the table.
You come back and Ben is like,
turn that down.
Could you turn that down?
Maybe it's just your reading, okay?
Ah,
Maybe
shut
we
up.
need We're good now.
Oh, man. Yeah, Gloomhaven
People
is
lost
like
bed.
He's gone.
Gloomhaven is like the game that like it's so good, and it was like the one game that I was okay playing weekly, right? Like I like a lot of variety, but we would meet I think it was Tuesday, and play Gloomhaven for like a year, and we actually have finished it, and it was just like we started playing through it again, right? Like
that's so
we,
awesome.
We went the bad route, like we went evil, and then we're like, well, we'll try it good this time.
Oh, you went bad first.
Yeah, we did. I have some weird friends.
He's like, that tells me something about you.
I've learned a lot.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you also played Jaws of the Lion then after that?
Actually, I have not. So we took a break because of the pandemic, and so the weekend after Memorial Day, we're starting Jaws of the Lion. So
I highly recommend the hatchet.
Oh, good. Yes, I've heard really good things about the hatchet.
Always.
Every time I bring it up, people say you have to play the hatchet. So I think I'm gonna like kind of.
I love him. I love Enox's, but he is.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Great game. Great choice.
Right.
Did any of us think that she wasn't going to pick Gloomhaven?
No.
I was like, I finally get to talk about it.
I'm
The last time was like what lightest game, and I was like, guys.
Gloomhaven, let me tell you.
How about Steph?
All right. So I've been thinking about this as everyone's been going through, and I would say mine has got to be Tainted Grails. I like that mainly because of how immersive that game is as you're moving through this world. You're also reading the cards and locations that you are, and every character can have dreams in certain locations, which is super cool to me as you can really kind of, get really into this world. The only downside I would say with Tainted Grails is it does kind of have that funnel effect where you have to like complete certain things to actually move on with the story, you know. But besides that, just being able to explore this world and really like get into like a completely new environment that I never even heard of, it just made me like want to like play more and learn more about this game. And honestly, it got me into Awakened Realms. And so now I have Ether Fields too, which I have unopened sitting on my shelf that I'm just like, okay, as soon as I'm done with Tainted Grails, and also Gloomhaven. And also I have this game coming in. So I'm trying to make sure that I like complete these stories fully so I know what's happening, because like a part of it is knowing what happened before. You have to actually follow through these stories and understand like what's actually going on with these characters and like their development, because you get effects and certain things that will change the story later on of you're like, I don't want to say poisoned or something like that. Well, now you can't go through here. So now you need your other person to come over if you're playing with, 2 or 3 other people, so that they can go through this story and try to understand like, or read and convince these people to let us either go through or, go through whatever we're doing. So for me, it just like, I love how there's so much reading involved. I know Em probably wouldn't like that. But
oh man, you have a reputation.
I'm now gonna people are gonna be like,
yes.
As a side note, this game showed up because I backed the Kickstarter, and she was like, "Get rid of that."
Which one was this?
She didn't even let me open the box. She said, "You better put that on eBay right now."
Which one was this?
This was the King Arthur, like creepy looking.
Yeah,
I remember this.
And I was like, "I want to play this."
The
I
60
just
pound
remember
box.
it showing. I don't remember which one it was. Whatever, when it showed up, I just remember going, why would you spend this much money on a game that I'm not gonna like, especially it was right during the pandemic too, right? Like it's the two of us. Like we're not, it's not like friends are coming over. Sorry.
Did you play the digital version at all? I haven't, but I have it, but I haven't played it, if that makes sense.
It doesn't.
No, I haven't played the digital version. I'm just trying to get through the version. And see, in this case, I actually only play this with my boyfriend too. So it's just me and him and playing this game. But yeah, so we just kind of been going through it. But another thing too with the game is you have to have well-balanced some characters. One of them is more like a fighting character, which is his, and mine is more of like a communicative person. So we have to kind of stick close together, because if I get into a fight, there's no way I'm going to talk my way out of it with like a beast or whatever. So he has to be there to help. And then if he gets into like an angry mob, I am the one who has to be like, hey guys, it's cool. Like, let's figure this out. So that's really cool to me too, but can kind of be like a downer for some people if they want to be more like combative, and you can't get through the entire story without having one of each character, because it's just like impossible.
When you get to play Ether Fields, it's a fantastic experience. You will love it until the very end, because they screwed up the book, so you can't actually beat the game. Yeah,
What?
No.
yeah. There's the game makes you do something that you shouldn't do. And so I had to email Awakened Realms. I was like, I think your text box is wrong. They're like, yeah. So I think they're sending corrections in wave 2 shipping, because like literally you can't beat the game, like if you play correctly. But it is a really good story outside of that.
House
I mean, I
rules.
started a campaign with some people, so they want to play it, and I was like, perfect. It's on open, so we can just do a whole campaign with this and really get into it. But I'm super excited for that, because I love the theme of Ether Fields, the whole dream.
It's so cool.
Like it's just like when I saw it, I was like, I need this, because like that is so cool of how they just did the whole mechanics of it, and how like they actually have those cards that actually like show the whole scene. You know what I mean?
Yep. And it slowly comes apart as a dream, and like you work your way through it. It's a neat system. It is cool.
So sick.
I have Tainted Grail unopened on my shelf of shame. So
Shelf of opportunity, Nelson. Shelf
I'm
of
sorry.
opportunity.
Sorry.
Shame, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Shame.
Team shelf of
Shame. Shame.
Yeah.
I've been putting shrink wrapped games in my closet. And Kate's like, hey, how do we play this game in shrink wrap? Like, no, we have all these games you have to get through before you even get to the closet. So I'm just gonna keep those in shrink wrap until we get everything done.
In from the world. What's in this closet?
Yeah, right. This game's
You're like,
fall out.
I did about throw my back out bringing that in from the front porch after it was delivered, though.
That was a big honking box. I remember seeing those on Facebook Marketplace. It was this huge box, and because the Kickstarter came in late, right? It wasn't expected a while back, and it came in. It was
that
delivered
giant
late.
box that I had to bring to the.
Yes.
Yep,
That's it. I remember what it was.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
But I mean, the Kickstarter probably ran in 2017, 2018. Like, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
It took forever to fill.
It took a while. I think that was the second time my wife was ever like truly mad at me about board games, was when Etherfield's box showed up, and she texted
Only
me.
twice?
And she's like, well, yeah, the first time was really bad.
Now for
But,
Cloudspire.
But when she saw the Awakened Realms box, she's like, what is that? And I was like, not board games. She's like, it better be multiple. I was like, it's not. It's one.
It's a refrigerator, honey. Yeah.
I'm almost regretting getting the whole all in for Etherfields because that's a lot. Like the one box was the first wave shipping, and now I have a second wave shipping that I'm like,
Yep.
I don't know if I regret this decision or not yet.
It'll be fine.
But that's a lot. That's a lot of content and not a lot of space. There's not a lot of space for these games.
Right. I'm always like, who plays all this? And then like my friend Ryan Quinn, who orders every game, he has like a game night every night. So he made his Wednesday night group play through what the heck are we talking about right now?
Tainted Grail.
Grail. I was like, oh, have you
I
guys
was
ever?
like, what are you trying to think
Because
of?
like Tainted Grail just showed up, and I was like, have you guys played it at all? He's like, yeah, we're almost done with the campaign. I was like, what the heck?
Of course. Yeah. Yes.
Ben's memory is tainted.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. All right. Who are you going to pass it to?
Who do we have left here? I know we have you, Roberto, but do we have, I think, Jason, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 All right. So let's go back to IPs because that's been fun. So the game I'm picking is a 10-year-old game. And I also realized while we were thinking about this, I'm not super into
Allison's
thematic
mind
games.
is blown. He's like, he didn't pick too many bones. What?
I know, right? Right. I thought about it for a while.
I think I know this game though, right?
I think you do too.
Yeah.
So I'm not big into thematic games. I do like Euros, and I like Euros that do blend themes into it. So I was thinking about that. But there was only one game I've ever really been truly lost in, because every other time of the game, I see the mechanics, and the mechanics pull me out, usually with too many bones. Like I start chucking dice, and then like one falls on the floor or something stupid. I'm like, yeah, the flooring. Oh yeah, I gotta fix it. And I don't know why. I get pulled out of games a lot. But for this game, it has not only an amazing trilogy of books that's absolutely phenomenal, probably one of the best fantasy books ever written. It's got a famous movie trilogy that's absolutely amazing with an amazing score. And I think they're recently coming out with a TV show now. But if anyone knows me, they should know what it is. And it is Lord of the Rings.
I was like, if this isn't Lord of the Rings, then what the heck is he?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I thought it was going to be Twilight.
What
I
am I
don't know.
missing?
Yeah.
It is
Twilight
Firefly.
Vampire Adventure.
Like, yes.
But yeah, so with this game, I this was the first LCG. I really said, okay, I like the IP. Let's dive into this. Let's spend some money and see where this goes. And what's interesting about it is there's two different ways you can kind of play the game. You can play through saga boxes, which essentially plays through the books. So I can play The Hobbit, I can play Twin Towers, I can play all that. And you can relive parts of those books. So, I mean, when you do the Battle of Helm's Deep, like it feels legit. Like you feel like you're really doing this and you're struggling and it's great. And you're waiting for Gandalf to finally show up. And, it's amazing when he does. And, dealing with Gollum and Gollum trying to help you and then deceive you and then help you. It's really well done in that aspect. Then the other side of it is they have their own original stories. They have like 9 different cycles, and it tells stories that connect with that universe but aren't directly related. And some of them, I'm working with a group of guys right now who are playing through as well, and they just the story experiences just amaze you. I mean, you think it's going one way, then something else happens, and it's either a big monster you have to fight, or someone you trusted is traitor against you, or your deck gets manipulated, or whatever. So as far as theme goes, that always drew me in. But it's because I can also put on the soundtrack, right? I can put on the soundtrack and get lost into it.
I was just gonna say, you better put that goddamn soundtrack on. 'cause-
every night. You kidding me? Every night. But it's not only that. It's the deck. You know, I can make a Rohan deck. The game doesn't have to explain to me who Rohan is. I know what that is. So it kind of gives it a weird leg up. And I think IPs can kind of rely on that, and makes it easier. Because if I was spending all this time explaining to me what a hobbit is, I'd be bored of this game. Like, I don't want you to explain all these details to me. But because the universe is so well known, because I already have this visual image, you know, Viggo Mortensen, you know, fighting and whatnot, like I can just picture those things easily in this game. So yeah, for me, Lord of the Rings LCG is just the most thematic game I own.
I think
Excellent.
that's a really awesome thing. Surprises.
Mhm.
That's, you know, especially for us at this point, for any of us, if a game does something that surprises you like that in the stories, that's like gold.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The amazing thing too is it could surprise you, even though you know every card that you've built in that deck, and yet
Oh god.
the way it comes together, it still has that effect, which is great. Yeah.
What always amazed me about it too is I never knew there were so many different ways to lose in an LCG. Every single cycle, this game is like, hey, you thought you could lose just by dying? Nah, bro. We're gonna get you landlocked, and you're not gonna be able to leave your location ever. Good luck. And you lose that way, and you're like, okay, now I can deal with that. Oh, well, now you're used to that. Well, how about a timing mechanic? You gotta go super fast now. Well, my deck's not built for that. Too bad. Sucks to suck. So it's the game. Every single cycle figures out a different way to try to beat you. So it never feels like I'm playing the same cycle over and over and over. The game evolves and changes. So that's to me one of the coolest aspects of it.
Well, I actually have to say goodbye. I have to leave now, but I appreciate it, and I really enjoyed talking with all of you. So thank you
You as
so
well.
much for having me.
It was awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Stephanie.
hanging out.
Yeah. Bye,
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Bye.
All right, so I guess
And then there were 6.
and there were 6. So I guess, oh man, there's so many people to choose from. I guess Meg,
don't know,
right?
is there
You know,
any-
you're left.
I don't
Yeah,
think there's
dude.
anyone left, Jason,
No.
right?
All
I
right.
don't think so.
I think
So
everyone
guys, it was
else-
great
Yeah.
talking to you all.
It was really-
take
I'm pretty
care.
sure we
Yeah.
covered everything.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. We're
Yeah.
good. This is a wrap on the Boardvengers episode.
All right, Roberto, give it to us. It better be
Wait.
something good.
Wait, before you start,
Well, Ben's
Oh,
gonna
God.
lose it.
like I really like.
We need to have a
the
talk.
Living card game, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yes.
But has anybody played Journeys Through Middle Earth, the
Yes.
app-driven Lord of the Rings game?
Okay.
Yes.
I have
Ooh.
not been able to make that fun, and I have played it
I
with
can't
so
do it.
many different groups, and it's always a race against the app instead of like.
Well, you like to explore, and the app is like get to the
No,
finish as
you
fast
got to
as
do
you
this as
can.
fast as you can. The threat level is going up. You're gonna
Even
lose.
if you're like, should we take a left? And it's like, if you don't take a right, you're dead. Like it's instant.
I'm just like, please, can we have like 1 second to have
But
fun?
also the one time, the one time we played, Ben kept tapping the screen like it was a touch screen, and we had to be like, "It is not a touch
Oh, it was
screen,"
her-
like 10 times.
I
And
was
so
like, just here.
he's so flustered by the end of trying to tap it, and we're like, "It is not a touch screen," like multiple.
All right, I just wanted to, I had to get that off my chest.
I'm sorry, but it was Ken and myself being like, "Will you please stop tapping the screen?"
Well, I was looking through my painting stuff, and I have all the minis from that
Oh, you
game,
still
and they're
have?
like, some of them are painted, some of them aren't, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I sold this. Like, do I have all the minis? still? But then
Did you sell it without the minis?
No, I actually still have.
Oh,
I
okay.
just
I was
didn't
like,
know where
we
it
got a
was.
problem on our hands right now.
Hey, you done? You're fine at this point.
Yeah,
I
I
guess if no one
really,
said anything.
I really enjoyed Journeys. To me, it's very similar to It's like harder Mansions of Madness.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I
Yeah.
felt. That it's
That's true.
Mansions of Madness is a lot of fun, but for me at this point, it's almost a little easy. Like, I kind of know what you're doing, and it's more for the story. Whereas Journeys was like hard, but for
Yeah.
the story.
I feel like with that game, I'm kind of just doing whatever the app tells me to do. Like that's how it
Yeah.
always felt to me. And it's just like it's not a bad thing, right? I mean, it's fine. It's just like I just want to play this game, and this app is telling me I have to do this and move this way and do this. And I'm like, I don't know. It was a weird feeling.
Like, I want to see what's in this cave. Like, can I go check it
It was
out?
like, you don't got
No.
time.
Nah.
No, you got shit to do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Push the objective, damn it.
Yeah, it was like, and you're dead. Yeah. Mhm.
All right.
we
sorry,
played
Roberto.
that. No, you're fine. Kate and I played that one time. She found it. We played it once, and then we sold it last month, 2 months ago.
Mhm.
But then we saw it at Barnes and Noble locally. For side note, Barnes and Noble if you don't have a FLGS, go to a Barnes and Noble, and they have some pretty
They
solid
have a
board games
lot
there.
of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was quite impressed there. But it was on sale for 50% off. I wanted to buy it again, but she said no.
He's smart.
That's-
So
Yeah.
It's just more space that's being taken up. I was gonna say Mansions of Madness, but collectively, I think we may have played Mansions more so. But last year, when this game came out, it actually won a Golden Geek for the most zoomable game. It was Forgotten Waters.
Ah.
For great things.
This game is so good. And when I had my son, last year in the throes of the pandemic, being home, we would play this for 6 to 8 hours, and there are natural save points in the game. But to begin, you have your pirates on a ship, and you have an app where not an app, but it's a website that allows the ambient, the sea noise, the bells, like everything. It's pretty awesome. So it's semi-co-op. So there's a race to be the captain of the ship in that aspect as well. And why can't I English today? It's like every single word
Stuff.
that I know is out of my mind right now. But you choose different roles on the ship that you're on. You can choose to be in charge of the helm. You can choose to be in charge of cannons. You can choose to be in charge of several other things. In reality, you're helping each other with that. You decide what you want to do. But then there's this beautiful book that you open up, and that's where the worker placement comes into play, where you have a pirate that you want to be. So you decide where you place your pirate, and the pirate decides to feed the crew. Your pirate decides to help restore the ship itself, because as you're in the water, the ship deteriorates, so on and so forth. So you have to make some crucial decisions while you're exploring the world. So as you move on, it gets a little more difficult. There's krakens, there's huge, I think there's a megalodon. There are several obstacles that get into your way, but it's such a great experience because you can talk like a pirate. You get the atmosphere of being on a ship, and it's just such a great time to play that game. We haven't played it in a little bit, and it bums me out that we haven't, because I do want to play at a higher play count, because it does play from 3 to 7 players. We tried it at 2 and it was just meh. The other fun thing about the game is in the back of the book, you roll 2 die and it gives you like a pirate name generator in the very back. So you have
That's
a little
awesome.
sheet and you fill in bubbles as you progress, and you have like a basic, intermediate, and a legendary ending once you finish the campaign that you're in. So and all throughout you have these natural save points. So if you don't have to play for 8 hours, but last year we sure as heck did, because we didn't have anything else to do. So that was my thematic game, and apparently it's the most zoomable game, because I think they made it a print and play. Flat Hat Games did, yeah.
I have
that
this
is
game
smart.
and I haven't gotten to play it yet, but one of the things I think is the coolest is the characters in it, is that they're so diverse. I've never even seen women characters like that. There's one that's like a female but a skull head. I think the characters in it are so cool that it's really great to see the cast.
Yeah, and everything there more than how many colors? There's 7 colors, and they're these vibrant colors too. Just everything pops, illustrations pop. It's kind of like, have you played Sleeping Gods yet? So you have the book that opens up, and on one side, well, I guess in the sense that it's a book, that's really the only thing that is the same. The only thing that's the same is the book. But one side, it's like you're
There's one
on a
side
planet.
and there's
Yeah, so you have your illustration and then your placement, and you're actually not supposed to look at where you want to go. You turn the page, you turn on the timer, which is about 30 seconds. So it is timed. You are pressed for time as to where to go. So then you start throwing your person or your pirate on the worker placement locations and then carry out the location by dice roll.
Thank you for explaining. I just got it today, so you explain the rules helps me a lot. 'Cause I want to read.
Now you don't have to read anything.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Done.
The first time I tried explaining that, it just went so horribly wrong. I'm a bad explainer. I can't explain for the life of me. And I mean, I played this game several times, and it just like re-looking at the rule book and watching videos and stuff. Here I am still struggling because I just can't. Like every word of the English language just decides to leave my mind when I do stuff like this. But highly recommend to play it, and kids can play it too. So I do want to say that. Yeah.
Well, like Nelson said, like I've only heard good things about this game, but I still don't know. I hear things like Mad Libs. I hear books of locations and worker placement, but like what is making it fun?
What is it?
Yeah, is it like a story? Is it like hard to think through, or are you just having fun? Like, what's going on here?
You're having a blast. There's tokens where I think there's something in Gloomhaven that hinders you, right? You get tokens that hinder you for a dice roll that gives you disadvantage, right? So there's tokens in this game that give you disadvantage. There's tokens in this game that give you advantage. There is a Mad Lib style type of thing where you choose different, like I think it's 5 words, and then you start to fill them in as you progress through the story, and it gets really ridiculous. Like Captain Buttface did this and ate a banana, and so on and so forth, right? And depending on the ending, you start to fill those out in the book itself as you again progress through the story. And there's actually a decent amount of paper in the game, so there's a lot of replayability. So if you finish your pirate, you can rip off of that and start a new campaign, if you will, with a whole new pirate.
So do you find that the fun comes from like the decisions that you're making to influence the story, or is it more like kind of just sitting around, kind of like a role-playing aspect?
I think it's a little bit of both, because there's a lot of Yar and Métis as far as as role-playing, but there really are some crucial decisions to be made, whether you want to feed the crew, because if you don't feed the crew, you go into mutiny, and then that does some bad stuff. Or if you don't fix the ship, then that's it.
Thanks for telling me. I wasn't sure if that's what it was.
Just so you know.
Make sure that you get all the citrus and limes. You're good to go.
Okay.
We don't need any scurvy around here.
Awesome.
But
What? Okay. So wait, if you are playing with kids, what is like the youngest age that you think?
Probably 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
game does say 14 and up. I don't know what. Maybe some of the illustrations are scary for little kids.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that has to do with the product testing that's required for certain age ranges. So oftentimes it'll list a higher age range than what realistically can handle it from a mechanical thematic standpoint.
Wasn't that with like the same thing that happened with the Marvel United game from Simon? Was that like young kids can play that game, but the age range is like higher than it should be, like technically, because
that is a kid's game for sure.
Yeah.
What is the age range?
I think a lot of people got disappointed in that because they played it thinking it was like Marvel Arcadia Quest, and then showed up and it was like, oh, this is a little kids game. And I play that with my kids, and they love it.
Yeah,
I think too, part of like aging games is if they could play it alone. So I think sometimes they age it higher because you can't like have 4 7-year-olds play this alone without an adult.
That's true.
So it's kind of like they have to skew it
right
for that too.
Life goals.
That makes sense.
You get 4 7-year-olds.
It should be like this age plus adult.
Can you imagine being like, okay, guys, play this game.
Here you go.
Let's be honest, though, you give
Read
it
the rules.
a group of 5-year-olds Marvel United, and they're just going to play with the figures anyway.
Yeah, right. It's like,
They're all
Good enough.
My sister's having a baby in September, and I'll just get it Gloomhaven. She can have Gloomhaven for her first birthday.
Gloomhaven onesie.
It's
Well,
like
it's-
starting an IRA
Yeah.
forum, they'll use it eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they could use it as a bassinet, right? Just pop the baby right in the box. Good
Yeah,
to go.
exactly.
That's fun.
It's true.
That's a great idea.
You
That's a great
really
idea.
don't need much room for a baby at first. Let's be serious.
Well, yeah.
Oh
But
boy,
to
what?
give you an example, like here's the boarded ship. So in the app, it'll tell you to go to a certain number, which brings you to this. And then here are the locations, and you're not supposed to look at these symbols. And depending on where you go and how you roll, you fill out. You start to do this side right here. And as you get more traits or attributes throughout, this actually affects your dice roll, because some of these are. This is a 16 plus dice roll, and you can only get that if your attributes are really high within that particular dice roll.
That's Plaid Hat, right?
Plaid Hat, yeah.
They have some amazingly thematic games.
Yeah.
Mice and Mystics, Dead of Winter.
Dead of Winter. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was just like, when I was thinking about this topic, most of my suggestions came from Plaid Hat.
Stuffed Fables.
Ashes, yeah,
Is it
Stuffed
awesome?
Fables.
I'm in Fantasy Flight.
Yeah.
I have Stuffed Fables,
have
Ashes,
Mice and
and
Mystics.
Mice and Mystics, and all the expansions. That
Yeah.
stuff I got to play with the kids,
They don't care.
and it's just sitting there. So it's just been sitting there. Olivia painted some mice and mystic rats when she was like 3, and she's 10.
Yeah, she still hasn't. Sorry. Oh shit! Sorry. I dropped something in there. Sorry.
That's coming back out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was our 3rd Boardvengers episode. 4th. How many episodes have we done?
Number 3.
3.
I think
3?
3.
3
I don't
plus
know.
the secret one.
Yeah, unless I
Excellent,
wasn't
yeah.
invited to one.
Yeah,
Apparently.
We can't
that I
talk about
know
the secret
about.
one, Meg.
There's been
Yeah.
5,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, sorry.
I have the
shoot.
footage.
I finally got invited back.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been invited to a few, but
Yeah. So here's our 3rd. We can wrap this up. Let's start with Ben and M. Where can we find you? Yeah.
Oh, look for Date Night Dice on Instagram, I guess, or podcasts, or there's like one YouTube video every once in a while. If you're in mid-Michigan and you're in Midland and you want some date night ideas, you can look for date night boxes at the local coffee shop.
soon.
Emily
Not
puts
yet,
together Date Night in a Box. It's a board game and a little trophy and some other fun stuff that goes along with it. So
Nice.
that's where you can find
Excellent.
us.
That was a great story, by the way. Your stories are just always they're so good. They're so good. And Professor Meg, where can we find you?
Basically that. I'm Professor Meg everywhere, so it's easy. I'm mostly on Instagram, a little bit on YouTube, a little bit everywhere else, a tiny bit, but mostly on Instagram. Professor
Awesome.
Meg.
Jason?
I don't think anyone should ever try to find me because I will convince you to play all the LCGs. You will lose all your money. And I'll convince you to buy Chip Theory games and losing more money. But if you're so inclined, D20 Woodworking on Instagram.
Dave?
Yeah, just Game Foundry on Instagram and Etsy. Find me there.
Oh
Nelson?
yeah, I'm on Etsy too.
Fantasy and Some Flights on Instagram or anywhere you could find podcast.
Awesome. And I'm Roberto. I'm Shear Boardom or Shear Boardom Table Talk on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram and on YouTube. But until we do this again, because we will, happy gaming.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.